former Palermo president Paul Baccaglini, a man whose life journey took him across 2 continents and through the diverse worlds of entertainment, finance, and football, has been found dead at his home in Milan at just 41 years old. Italian authorities are not ruling out the possibility of suicide, a heartbreaking consideration that has left many stunned, saddened, and searching for answers. The sudden passing of a man who once stood at the helm of one of Italy's most storied football clubs has reopened conversations about the pressures of public life, the silent battles many face behind closed doors, and the fragility of existence, even for those who once seemed to stand confidently in the spotlight. The reports began to emerge. On September 9, when sources in Italy, including Sky TG24, confirmed the tragic discovery, it was his partner who found his body inside their Milan home, a revelation that carries with it an indescribable weight for those closest to him. The grief of a loved one stumbling upon such a devastating scene is immeasurable, a wound that will echo for years to come. In that moment, what the public sees only as news becomes a deeply personal and haunting tragedy for someone else. A sudden rupture in the rhythm of life that can never be repaired. Authorities have yet to determine the full circumstances surrounding Baccaglini's death, but speculation has already turned toward suicide. Such an outcome paints a devastating picture of a man who, despite outward appearances of success, charm, and energy, may have been fighting an internal battle that few were able to see. His death becomes a sobering reminder that the smiles, confidence, and ambition presented to the world often conceal silent storms raging within. In the modern age, where public personas are curated for the world to consume, the unseen truths often remain locked away in private hearts until it is far too late to understand the gravity of this loss. One must look at the life Paul Baccaglini lived, the paths he chose, and the dreams he pursued. Born in the United States to an American father and an Italian mother, he was a child of 2 cultures, raised with a dual perspective that shaped his identity in profound ways. His upbringing bridged the brash energy of America and the artistic, deeply historical sensibilities of Italy. This blend of cultures would later manifest in his ability to navigate different industries, move between diverse careers, and reinvent himself in ways that seemed, at least from the outside, effortless. Baccaglini was first introduced to the wider Italian public through the satirical television show La Ini, a program known for its sharp wit, investigative edge, and willingness to push boundaries. For many viewers, he became a recognizable face associated with humor, charisma, and the ability to connect with audiences. Entertainment, however, can be both a blessing and a curse. It can provide recognition, opportunities, and influence. But it can also pigeonhole individuals, limiting how the public perceives them. For Baccaglini, the showbiz chapter of his life was just one stage in a series of transformations. He was never content to remain in one lane, always eager to challenge himself, move forward, and carve out new opportunities. After leaving the world of entertainment, Baccaglini transitioned into finance, a leap that surprised many but demonstrated his versatility and ambition. He worked as a trader, immersing himself in a world where numbers, strategy, and high-stakes decisions shaped futures. Finance is not for the faint of heart. It requires a level of resilience and focus that can overwhelm even the strongest personalities. For someone like Baccaglini, it was another platform to test his capabilities, to prove that he was more than just a television personality. It was during this period that his trajectory began to intersect with football, an industry where passion, business, and culture converge. In 2017, Paul Baccaglini stepped into the footballing spotlight as the president of Palermo, a club with a rich history, passionate supporters, and an identity tied closely to the pride of Sicily. His appointment was met with both curiosity and skepticism. On one hand, he was young, energetic, and brought with him a fresh vision that seemed to promise change. On the other, his background in entertainment and finance left many wondering if he truly understood the intricate and often chaotic world of Italian football management. Football is not merely about managing finances or making business deals. It is about culture, history, and the emotional investment of thousands of fans who see their club as a reflection of themselves. Baccaglini's tenure as Palermo's president was brief, but it was filled with ambition. He was supposed to finalize the purchase of a majority stake in the Rosanero, working alongside an investment fund to secure the future of the club at the end of the 2016-17 campaign. The deal, however, never materialized. In Italian football, promises of new ownership, investments, and grand projects often collide with the hard realities of bureaucracy, financial hurdles, and political entanglements. For Baccaglini, the failure to close the deal must have been a significant disappointment, a setback in what could have been a defining chapter of his life. Still, during his time at Palermo, he became a part of the club's narrative. Palermo fans, though cautious, were drawn to his energy and vision. He represented hope at a time when the club was in flux, caught between its glorious past and uncertain future. For a brief moment, he stood as a symbol of renewal. Yet when the deal collapsed, it was another reminder of how fragile dreams can be in football, how quickly the tides can turn, and how the weight of expectations can crush even the most determined individuals. In the years since his departure from Palermo, the club itself has undergone significant transformations. Once a proud Serie A side that produced stars like Paulo Dybala and Edinson Cavani, Palermo faced relegation battles, ownership changes, and a fight for survival. Now playing in Serie B, the club continues to rebuild, carrying with it the memories of past leaders, players, and moments that defined its journey. In the wake of Baccaglini's passing, Palermo issued a heartfelt tribute on X, formerly known as Twitter. Palermo FC, together with President Dario Miri and the entire City Football Group family, expressed their condolences for the untimely passing of Paul Baccaglini, president of Città di Palermo, during the final months of the 2016-17 season. The statement was brief but poignant, a recognition of his role in the club's story and a gesture of solidarity with his family and loved ones. Tributes such as these highlight the paradox of public figures. For most of the world, Paul Baccaglini is remembered as a former president, a face in football's long history, or a personality from Italian television. Yet behind those roles was a human being, a son, a partner, a friend, someone with dreams, fears, struggles, and triumphs. It is easy to reduce lives into headlines, but the truth is always deeper, more layered, and infinitely more complex. His story is one of reinvention, of ambition, and ultimately of tragedy. And it forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about how society perceives success and failure. The possibility of suicide adds yet another layer of pain and complexity. Mental health remains a subject often spoken about in whispers, particularly in fields such as business, entertainment, and sports, where strength, confidence, and resilience are prized above all else. For men, especially, the stigma surrounding vulnerability can be suffocating. They are expected to be providers, leaders, figures of certainty. To admit to struggling, to speak openly of despair, can feel impossible. If Baccaglini did indeed take his own life, it underscores the urgency of breaking down these stigmas, of creating spaces where people feel safe enough to voice their pain, and of recognizing that even those who seem to have it all may be quietly crumbling inside. Paul Baccaglini's life, though cut tragically short, is a reminder of the unpredictability of human existence. He was not afraid to step into the unknown, to shift careers, to take risks that many would shy away from. In that sense, his life embodied a restless spirit, the pursuit of something greater, even if it often came with disappointment and setbacks. His death, however, stands as a reminder that ambition alone cannot shield us from the deeper struggles of the human heart. In the end, he leaves behind a legacy not of completed triumphs but of attempts, of courage to step forward, of the willingness to try, to reinvent, and to keep moving even when the path was uncertain.